Hello, I'm back with another DaVinci Resolve tutorial. This time we're going to look at LCuts and JCuts and how they can enhance your videos. Hello, welcome to In Studio. I'm Ian M. Butterfield and welcome to my series of beginner level tutorials on DaVinci Resolve. We've looked at creating scenes and transitions within scenes in our previous videos. Now I want to take that to the next stage. We've looked at basic transitions. In this video, we're going to look at what's known as JCuts and LCuts. So what are they? Well, join me in DaVinci Resolve and I'll explain. So here we are back in DaVinci. I'm working on the transition that we looked at in the previous video in this series, which was a slide between the two scenes. So let me just play that in for you, just to remind you of what it currently looks like.
And he left the tunic and ran away naked.
They took Jesus away to the high priest.
So there you can see how the scene transitions with the move of the image. Now, we're going to keep the same transition, but what an LCut and a JCut is all about is transitioning the audio at a different point in time to transitioning the video. And the idea is that offset of time between the two helps to lead you into the scene a little bit better. So let's go full screen and I can explain this a little bit clearer. Right, a JCut is where the audio transitions before the video. Well, we've got our audio transition correct in the right place. What we want to do is move where the video transitions. So it's going to transition in seconds. So if I put my cursor on the join between the two, I can move it over as far as possible. Right, now, in this example, it's not much of an offset because the clip I was working with was a bit on the short side, so I can only move it a little bit, but the effect's still there. So why is it called a JCut? Well, if you think of this line down going in, it's a J shape along here. So let's play that in and you'll see the difference with a JCut.
And ran away naked.
They took Jesus away to the high priest.
Now, hopefully you will agree that it feels a nicer transition. Although it's only a second or so, if that the offset is, it does help that transition a little bit. The LCut, on the other hand, is going the other way, where the picture precedes the sound. So if I again move this as far over as I can. Again, can't go too far because what we refer to as the handles, the dead space before and after isn't available to me. And this is one of the reasons why I keep telling people, leave me some extra footage before you start speaking and after you stop speaking so I can do this kind of effect. Now, if I play this in, you'll see what an LCut is. Now, if you think of an LCut as being, this is now an L shape here. We come down and across. It's between the video and the audio. So let's play that in.
And he left the tunic and ran away naked.
They took Jesus away to the high priest.
And again, I think you can see how that helps that transition between the two. It would work better if these clips had bigger blank spaces so that I could transition the video side away from the audio with more than half a second difference. But even that small amount really helps. Now, we can take this to the next level when we're dealing with music. So let's move further along our timeline. So Alt and scroll to compress everything so I can move things along. Whilst I'm here, I'm just going to grab this, stick it up against there, scroll in. I'm just going to now highlight all of those, bring my pointer into here, and then just move that right up. So what have we got here on the screen? Right, let me zoom to full screen and I can show you. What we have is we've got the end of the sermon from the vicar over on this side. And then...
wounded. So believe in those miracles, believe in the one who performed them, and believe in God's future that is coming one day through him.
And after that, we've got a song. So that just feels like the two are stuck together. Even if I put a straight transition in there, it's going to still feel that it's one video after another. What we can do with this is we can actually bring that introductory music in underneath the end of the sermon, and that just helps that transition in there. So what I'm going to do, resize my window up. I'm going to just compress that a little bit and add a new soundtrack here. So add track, and I'm going to make it a stereo track down below, and I'm going to move down the audio track for the song. Now, what I need to do here is I need to make sure I've only got the audio selected as I bring it down. Now, I'm going to highlight both of those, and what would be nice with this is to actually have the music under the first bit. So what I need to do is find the point where perhaps where the singing starts, because I don't want that overlapping with the sermon, but just the music part. So I'm going to guess somewhere around here. Let's play this in and see if I can find it. Well, we haven't got to the singing part yet, but I think that's probably a good place to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shorten the top track on here. So select that and shorten the visual parts. So I just want to say, for the purpose of this training video, it's a still image that I've got there. Normally that would be a moving image, perhaps of the musician playing, but because of copyright reasons, I've used a track that was written by somebody local who's given permission to the church to use it. So I can freely use this without running into any problems of copyright on there. But of course, he only had the audio side of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this entire track up. So I'm going to select both halves of it and move it right up so that abuts on there. Now I can put a standard transition between the two in terms of video. I'm going to choose a 50 frame cross dissolve on there, which means that's a 2-second transition from the end of the sermon into the visual of perhaps the musician playing, in this case a still image, but you get the effect. So now when I play this in, we'll start from here, you will hear the music come in underneath the speaker, but you'll notice that there is a problem. So let me play that in, and then we can talk about how we solve that.
Jesus' healings are not supernatural miracles in a natural world. They are the only truly natural things in a world that is unnatural, demonized, and wounded. So believe in those miracles, believe in the one who performed them, and believe in God's future that is coming one day through him.
When I call. And I think that transition works quite well, but I think the music is a little bit loud over the underneath the sermon. So we want to solve that. So I'm just going to grow that. And the way we do it, we use what's called keyframes. And a keyframe allows us, we've already seen in my previous tutorial videos, that we can move this level up and down to choose the level of the song. I'm just going to open the inspector on here and go over to audio, and you'll see why in a moment. bizarrely, I did actually manage to hit 0 on that. Normally when I do these move up and downs, I struggle to hit it back onto 0. But you can always reset that to 0 by double-clicking on the volume label. So now what I want to do, and I'm going to zoom in, again, Alt and scroll to do that. Once we've got to the end of the video transition, we want everything to be at full volume. So I'm going to hold the Alt key, click on there, and it puts what we call a keyframe on the video. So that's saying, right, we were going to keep it at that level on there. Now I want to put another one in just below there, perhaps at the start of that transition, the keyframe in there, and we can see here the volume significantly changes at this point. So I'm going to put a frame in there and a frame in there. And by putting those markers in, it means I can do something like this. I can bring that down. I can bring that one down a lot further, but I don't have to bring the quieter bit down quite as much. I'll bring it down a little bit beyond there because I want to try and maintain that difference between. So bringing it down like that, now if I play this whole thing, you should hear a difference to it, and you'll see how that volume changes so that we're not hiding the sound of the spoken word, the spoken dialogue. So let's play this.
Supernatural miracles in a natural world. They are the only truly natural things in a world that is unnatural, demonized, and wounded. So believe in those miracles, believe in the one who performed them, and believe in God's future that is coming one day through him.
When I call on the name.
So you can see that gives me a really nice transition there between the two scenes, and it eases in. The volume's not too high, so we don't lose the words of the sermon on there. Now we can do the same thing at the other end. So that effectively is a JCut, because we have brought in the sound before we've brought in the video on there. So if we think of this as your J coming down that way, let's do the LCut at the other end of this. And again, we want to find the point where there's no more speaking over the top of the on the song. So we've just got that trail in music. So let's find the point for that. And that looks like a good place to put it. So again, I'll just trim this section off by moving that over on there. So I can then bring in this section, bring it up to here, do a nice slow 50 frame cross dissolve there, and we need to do the same again with the keyframes, just to bring the level down at this point. So let's move the timeline across. So if I go to here, put in a few keyframes there, and I can then just start to bring that down to a sensible level. So hopefully that is going to be sufficient to do that transition in. So let's play that and have a listen to it.
They sang a hymn and went out to the Mount of Olives. "You're all going to desert me," said Jesus, "because it is written, I shall attack the shepherd, and then the sheep will scatter. But after I am raised up, I will go ahead of you to Galilee." Peter spoke up.
I think you'll agree that's a much nicer transition between the two. It also has the advantage of actually shortening the video presentation as well. And it's worth commenting about this, because we live in an age where when your videos are going on YouTube, whether it's a church service like this or a training video, the The aim is to get over your message as quickly and as succinctly as possible, because people get bored and they will click off and they'll move on to something else. So anything that you can do to ease the transition from one scene to another will help keep your audience there. It will also shorten the video, so you've got people are more likely to watch more of it because it's not as long. And even just shaving off a few seconds here and there by using a technique such as what I've done with this video with the music will help that overall video production. In the next video, we're going to look at the final part of production, and that is exporting your finished video using the Deliver page within DaVinci Resolve. Make sure you don't miss it by hitting the subscribe button and clicking on the little bell icon. And on the screen now should be the entire playlist of my DaVinci Resolve tutorials and a link to that next video as soon as it's published. So see you in the next video, and keep making great photos and great videos too. Bye for now.